guys, I hope you're all doing well given the circumstances. Hope everyone's staying safe and healthy and also sane during these times. Today I'm going to talk to you guys about integrative psychotherapy, which is a very general term. So I'm going to mostly focus on a specific type of integrative therapy called body psychotherapy, or the mind-body connection psychotherapy. And I like to think about it as a connection between body, organism, and psyche. So yes, I know that it's very confusing and very general. So what do I mean by that? So just for some background on, in general, what I'm going to be talking about versus what general integrative psychotherapy means. So I'm specifically talking about mind, body, and integrating these connections. So if you see in this diagram here, it's really about finding the center between spirit, body, and mind, and being comfortable existing in that overlap. And I'll explain more later how to specifically do that. But so the other end of integrative psychotherapy, the more general umbrella term, is really about synthesizing all these different approaches. So we've learned about cognitive approaches, behavioral approaches, humanistic approaches, psychodynamic approaches. And in general, that term really means, picking from each and every approach that you might find and choosing what you think works best based on the client or the individual who you're working with. So mind-body is more focusing on physical manifestations of mental issues, or not even just that, just understanding how the body builds into the mind and how it's not a separate entity, how they're really constantly together and working together. So with regards to the more general term, where you're just kind of synthesizing every approach, that can be tailored to any counselor. Any counselor might pick what they want from every approach. So, you can kind of think of like a spectrum, like this much behavioral, this much cognitive, this much psychoanalytic, this much humanistic, maybe even, some other approaches. But you can also tailor them differently to each client. So you might find that one client responds better to one approach, and it's really about being flexible and dynamic with what you're choosing and how you're approaching a client. But as I mentioned previously, the focus of this presentation is going to be that mind-body connection. And the specific type of psychotherapy is often referred to as body psychotherapy, and you will see why. So just for some background, there's been a lot of growth in integrative psychotherapy over the past 20 years or so, but it's become really, really, really big recently. So just for some background information on the source in general, the father is believed to be Dr. John C. Norcross, and he has put out multiple publications beginning in 1990, kind of outlining psychotherapy, integrative psychotherapy, and the differences between them. Today, we've kind of graduated onto a new framework called the multi-theoretical framework, and there's a novel by Jeff Brooks Harris that is often used, and if you would like to learn more about it, or read up on maybe how you want to tailor your approach if you are a counselor, or just want to understand more what this means, you can definitely look him up and look up his work. But yeah, so he is the second generation model of integrative psychotherapy, and just to kind of expand your understandings or your ideas of what the different types of approaches are, I have a list of some approaches here that he discusses in his book. So there's also, there's the cognitive, there's the behavioral, there's the humanistic, there's the biopsychosocial, but he also has, this like interpersonal, a systemic constructivist, and a multicultural feminist perspective. So that shows how, there's really a lot to choose from when you're deciding to go with one of these approaches, and you have a lot of room and a lot of flexibility to do what you would like with the approach. It's a really personal decision, but it's also really helpful for a client to be able to utilize an approach and experience the side of an approach that's completely about them. It's not as much just the counselor's preference. It's like what they know or what they think will be best for you. So it's probably the most general form of psychotherapy that exists today, the term integrative psychotherapy, which is why I'm going to focus more on a very, very, very particular subset. But just if you're interested further, I've also discovered in my research that there's just multiple different organizations now even that not only investigate integrative psychotherapy, however also, share understandings about it and want to spread knowledge surrounding why it may be an effective tool and